We have really great sponsors like the Smile Agency in Pasadena and West Covina. And if you would like to promote your business, we will put you on the show as well. But now for the Morning Buzz, we have a discussion about minimum wage, and we have Sharon Kyle on with us.
We're going to be talking Hillary and
she's right
Bernie.
here. Yeah.
Welcome. They both endorsed. I'm supposed to read this.
Oh, okay. You read it.
The writers put this together so we could, talk about this.
All right.
So Hillary and Bernie all support, raising the minimum wage. Currently 10. Some wants 10, rather 12, and others want 15.
Right. So first of all, Scot and Mary, thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be with you here so early in the morning.
It is early, isn't it?
Regarding the minimum wage.
Yeah.
So Hillary has come out and actually if you look at her website, you see that she supports a federal minimum wage of $12 an hour. And Bernie is supporting $15 an hour. And the states, New York and California, have endorsed $15 an hour. But this $15 an hour actually is occurring incrementally over several years. And by 2020, $15 an hour, it could be worth $7 an hour. In truth, if the minimum wage had kept pace with production in this country, we would actually be at about $22 an hour. And that is a position that's taken by all major economics professors. Elizabeth Warren has come out stating that. So yeah, it's great that we raise the minimum wage, but
even with $15 an hour, is it really enough to support a family?
I doubt. I think it's very difficult, particularly in communities like Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco. A family of four trying to survive on $15 an hour, I think we all know that keeps them at poverty levels.
But I also wonder what it does for small businesses when they need to pay this type of wages.
Right, so there are many that argue that it really benefits small businesses because when you have a community that has a higher minimum wage, they can spend their money in those small businesses.
But if it's federal, it's a little bit different too.
Right, but if you're paying more for that hamburger, how you're going to think twice about going out and getting that hamburger?
Well, if I'm making $22 an hour, I'll buy a lot more hamburgers than if I'm making $15 an hour.
Okay, I see your point. All right, and I'll raise you one. No, I really think that it's good in one way and bad in other ways. So here's my point, and I want your take on this. So by raising the minimum wage, you're really not going to get people out of poverty even at $15 an hour, okay? And as you stated, raising it to 22, it's really only going to be worth about $7 an hour. So how is that going to pull
$15 an hour?
Right? How is that going to pull people out of that poverty level by raising that minimum wage even in later years? I'm not seeing that.
Well, I'm also concerned that a hamburger. We could buy more hamburgers at earning $22 an hour, but that hamburger is not going to be $3 or $4 anymore. It's going to be $12 or $15 as well. So it all will go up incrementally.
It will. It will all go up incrementally, and historically it always has. But what has changed historically is the ratio between the amount of money that is being captured and distributed at the upper echelons of society and the amounts at the lower. The gap between the haves and the have-nots hasn't been as wide as it is today. It hasn't been that way since about 1929 when we had that major stock market crash. So even though GDP has gone up in this country over the past 5 years, the average person, the vast majority of Americans, have not realized an increase in their wages. In fact, wages have remained flat for about 30 years.
Tell us about your Bernie shirt.
Oh, okay. So I am the publisher of the LA Progressive. The LA Progressive is an online social justice magazine. It's called the LA Progressive because we endorse progressive positions. We are also officially endorsing Bernie Sanders for president because he is the single most progressive candidate running for president.
That's great. That's great.
And you're going to a rally or?
Right, directly after I leave the studio, I and my husband, who is the editor of the LA Progressive, we're going to be sitting on a forum speaking on behalf of why the LA Progressive is endorsing Bernie Sanders. We'll also be in conversation with Wendy Gruhl, who was the former controller for the city of Los Angeles and also ran for mayor for the city of Los Angeles, and she's endorsing Hillary Clinton.
Oh,
Interesting.
that's going to be good.
So how are you feeling about the delegates?
The superdelegates and the
exactly, and
So,
the
yeah.
election moving forward?
So I really do believe that we need to democratize our elections. I don't think that superdelegates is the way to democratize elections. We have about on the Democratic side of the House, we have about 700 superdelegates who ultimately, it looks like they'll be the ones who make the decision. Because the pledge delegates, both Hillary and Bernie, possibly will not have enough pledge delegates come the end of June.
Right.
And what's Bernie's stance on minimum wage?
Bernie's stance is $15 an hour for a federal minimum wage.
Right. So let me throw one thing, because I think we got about a minute or so. So going back to that minimum wage, we understand the cost of the wage going up and what it would do to the people that are buying that hamburger. The small business person, and I'm starting to see this now, there are businesses that are actually eliminating jobs and going to kiosks. So when you walk in to order those bagels and stuff like that in the morning, you're not seeing a real person, you're actually seeing a kiosk. And you go in and you're punching your information into the kiosk, you're swiping your card, and you've eliminated a job. So I'm wondering if that is going to be a growing trend in small business with the raising of minimum wage.
Well, you started this by saying we have a minute left. So I will close with saying during slavery times, we had 100% employment. There was no lack of jobs, right? So taken to its furthest logical conclusion, why the hell don't we go to 10 cents an hour? Everybody can work. What we want is fair and equitable pay. People make contributions and they should be compensated for the contributions that they make.
Sharon Kyle, thank you so much for being on the Morning Buzz. Will you join us for another one?
I certainly will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Now, on to coming up, we have, she testified in front of Congress.
Yes, and it's Jerry.
Not Jennifer,
Not
right?
Jennifer. I believe I messed that up on the earlier aspect. And she's going to be talking about the whole small business investors. This is
Coming
good.
up next.